My name is Shant Kumar, and I am the president of the Bangalore International Center. On behalf of the Board of Governors of the Bangalore International Center and all the members and the Bangalore International Center, I'd like to welcome all of you here this evening. This is a very special evening for BIC. We've gathered here this evening to celebrate the life and work of one of our own, Girish Karnad, who left us a few days ago. As I said, for us at BIC, this is a very special event because of that. Mr. Girish Karnad was, as most of you will know, a founder trustee of this organization and contributed enormously to building this organization to the status it has reached today. I have no hesitation in saying that he played an extremely important and crucial role over the last 15 years, since 2004 when we set up BIC. And the importance of his invaluable guidance and active participation over these years cannot be overstated. After the first 2 years of our existence, when we got this piece of land and we set about designing this building, and we came to the auditorium, but naturally we turned to Girish Karnad. And this auditorium in which we are today is a result of, among other things, very valuable and important inputs that we got from him. Of course, basically because of an entire lifetime that he spent in theatre. As a matter of fact, he also brought to us one of our first major donors. Professor Tom Kailath was looking for an opportunity to do something for theatre in Bangalore in memory of his late wife, Sarah Kailath, who was a theatre lover. And when Mr. Girish Karnad got to know of this through TGS George, he promptly pointed him to BIC. And hence, here we are today, this evening, sitting at the Sarah Kailath Auditorium. The only regret that I have, and most of us at BIC have, is that Mr. Karnad could not come and see and experience this building after we had finished it. Although he had come a number of times during its construction, by the time we were ready to go, his health deteriorated and he had restricted himself to his house. And despite our invitation, he couldn't make it. Personally, for me, it was a rare privilege and honor to have been a fellow founder trustee of the BIC and have worked along with him over the years. And I'm sure all my colleagues, past and present, share the same feeling and feel the same way. So once again, thank you for being with us this evening. And I shall now hand over to Mr. Ramachandra Guha to take us through this evening's program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shant. Thank you all for coming here to celebrate collectively the life, work, achievements and legacy of the great Girish Karnad. I am a historian, so I must begin at the beginning with my first live glimpse of Girish Karnad. Of course, I saw him, like many people of my generation, in the films. But I grew up in North India, so I had not seen him act, in theatre. I first saw him, I can't precisely recall the year, in the early 1990s, dining alone in the dining room of the India International Center. So it's a lovely room. Some of you have seen this room. It's a large circular room. Girish Karnad, Mr. Karnad, the great Girish Karnad, would dine alone on a table in the middle. All around him would be people who'd come. This could be breakfast, it could be lunch, it could be dinner. There would be jholawalas, there would be secretaries to government, there would be politicians, there would be writers, there would be scientists, there would be musicians, there would be artists. But Karnad would dine alone. And all of us looked at him adoringly. Girish was the kind of person even men, even straight men had a crush on. You didn't have to be gay or a young or middle-aged woman to have a crush on Girish. So we would look at Mr. Karnad sitting there alone in his kurta pajama, flawless skin, dining alone. We didn't dare disturb him. Now, if it was today, I'd go and take a selfie with him. Right. Now, this is a pre-selfie age. I was already, getting interested in biography and drawing parallels. So when I looked at Mr. Karnad dining alone, my mind went back to a story of a dinner thrown by John F. Kennedy when he became president. Now, these were the days when American presidents, when they became president, reached out to intellectuals and writers. So, Kennedy had among his advisors the historian Arthur Schlesinger and the economist John Kenneth Galbraith. So they decided as a display of, and Kennedy was succeeding a general, so he had to show he had, some interest in the arts and so on, not just in weaponry. And so a guest list was put together under the advice of Schlesinger and Galbraith, and it included many remarkable people. Memory serves, there was André Malraux, the French writer, Robert Frost, the great American poet, Gore Vidal, the American writer, and so on and so forth. And there was this dinner thrown at the White House with several Nobel laureates, many scientists too, ballet dancers, musicians, artists. And after that dinner, somebody memorably wrote that this was the greatest collection of artistic, cultural, intellectual, and scientific talent at the White House ever since Thomas Jefferson dined alone. Now, that was Girish Karnad at the ISC. It was the greatest display of Indian culture, ever, certainly at the ISC, him dining alone. All that was there in his capacious mind and heart. Now, of course, I got to know Girish later. The first time we met, we had an argument outside his house. Saras and he invited me for lunch with Shyam Benegal, and we got into an argument, and Sujata tried to stop it, and I think Saras finally succeeded. But I didn't dare test this theory on him, because immediately, if we had another argument, he would have said, "You've forgotten Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay," who also sometimes dined. I don't think Kamala Devi died alone, by the way, at the ISC, but that comparison is apt, because certainly since Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay's death, there has never been an Indian who so beautifully, seamlessly, nobly, and honorably embodied all that is truly remarkable about Indian culture. Whether it be art, music, dance, politics, also a bridge between Karnataka and India, between India and the world. That's all that Girish carried within him. And this evening we've tried to, in a modest way, whatever we can do within the confines of one function, celebrate his life and legacy. So I'll just let you know the feast that is our dream and Girish's dream would have been fulfilled. But also Vivek and Arshia. What Vivek has done with the journal Deshakala, apart from his own remarkable writing in Kannada, and now some of it available in English, many of you here would have read his novel Kashar Gochar, but also through cultivating a larger community of writing and scholarship in Kannada through Deshakala. Arshia through Sangam House and her nurturing, the Sangam House residency and her nurturing of young writers from India and across the world. So you are now going to hear 3 appreciations, tributes to Girish. I don't know what they're going to say. I'm as eagerly waiting as the rest of you. But from 3 people who are each quite remarkable and each of whom Girish loved very dearly. So first Aru, then Vivek, and then finally Arshia.
Namaskar. This is a tough one. I have never spoken about Girish before in my life. He was just there in our lives. as a playwright first, as an extremely tall person out there. At a very impressionable age, I think my first exposure to Karnad was when I was probably 7 or 8 years old and in Delhi, and Tughlaq was being done in Kannada by the Mysore Association over there. Tughlaq and Macbeth. And somebody who was living in our house was Kannada speaking, and he was acting in the play, so we were taken to see this play. And all I remember from Tughlaq is there was a king, and he looked like a mad king. And then there were people, many of them, walking across the stage in rags, and they looked like they were suffering. At the age of 7, this was all I got from Tughlaq, but I got it, that there was a king and there was people who suffered. And then there was Macbeth. All I remembered from Macbeth was that there were 3 witches, and they were calling him Macbethane. In Kannada, Macbeth becomes Macbethane. Little did I know that I would come to Karnataka and then do a Karnad play, would be my first play, and my first introduction to Kannada. That was my first Kannada play. But before that, as I was watching Chaitanya's film, I could see all the influences that Girish was talking about. Whether it was G.B. Joshi, Kirtanath, or Bendre, everyone. Though I don't know, I have not studied Kannada, I'm not educated in Kannada. Even today, reading Kannada is very difficult for me. But I can understand Kannada very well. And that's thanks to the 3 plays of Girish that I have done. All 3 in Kannada. And one of the same play in Hindi too. But my vocabulary of Kannada is a Karnad vocabulary. Because uncannily, when you do a play, every word becomes your own. You begin to understand the layers and the different connotations of each word, going across the whole script, going deeper into the character. And I began to recite Karnad's lines. I will only say recite because I did not know Kannada at all when I did Anju Mallige in 1978. My greatest fear was that I might break into Hindi or Marathi or English, because those were my thinking languages. Being born in Delhi and brought up in Bombay, even today I'm scared. I do not think so much in Kannada. Hindi is the language that my brain processes a lot of information in. But magically sometimes metaphors come in Kannada, and those metaphors are Karnad metaphors. Those words are Karnad words. So, having done Anju Mallige, Nagamandala, and Odakalu Bimba, those are 3 plays that I have done at different points of time in my life. Over the last 40 years, I have done only these 3 plays, but they have punctuated my life in so many ways. Karnad has punctuated the lives of so many theatre workers. I'm just a foot worker in theatre. So many people's lives. I think I was about 20 when I saw Hayavadana first. And what a play like Hayavadana can do to a 20-year-old, 19-year-old, to look at man-woman relationships. We were just about discovering our relationships with men. What is it? Is it the body? Is this fellow super intelligent, but his body is not so good? Kind of a thing. Many, many answers we got through watching plays like Hayavadana or Yayati, or Fire and Rain much later, much later, the whole intense relationship between Yavakri and Vishakha. But about Anju Mallige, I can speak with a little more authority because Here were Shankar and me. Shankar's life is also connected so deeply with Girish. I would not have come to know Girish Karnad personally if Shankar was not in my life. Shankar and me knew each other since we were 17 and 19 years old. And when Girish offered Shankar the role to act in Vandanandu Kaladalli, Shankar wanted to be a director. He didn't want to act. He knew he was not a very good actor. Anant was the better actor. So Girish called Shankar. Girish saw Shankar at a Chabildas play and called Shankar and said, "Will you act in my film?" And Shankar was in a quandary. He said, "I don't want to be an actor. I want to be a director. What do I do?" So he called me up and said, "I need to talk to you." And me, like a big advisor, we were talking. I said, it's okay. Anyway, you got the lead role in Karnad's movie. So maybe you should do it because you can watch him and learn from him. You can learn direction from him. So that was how Shankar took on that role, and the rest was history because he went on to get his International Best Actors Award and then did his first commercial Kannada film, which was a super hit, and then there was no looking back. In a very short period of 10 years, he had finished doing almost 100 films. But Girish used to always caution him and tell him, "Be careful, don't get caught up in this doing so many films. You'll really finish yourself internally, creatively." I will quote one of the lines from Anju Mallige, in which the play is about incest, basically. And 40 years ago, in Karnataka, the legacy that Karant had left behind was very, very strong, and that was folk. This was the Hayavadana time. Folk, myth, song, ensemble theatre. Realistic, Ibsenesque theatre was not so popular. And here were Shankar, Anant, Priya Tendulkar and myself, all branded Bombay people who came to do this Kannada play in Kalakshetra. So there was a whole theatre community that looked at us as outsiders who had come to do the play. It was well received. And I remember when Shankar played the racist British driver, truck driver, who Yamini has, the sister, in the protagonist in the play, has an affair with this racist driver just to spite her brother. When Shankar entered the stage, he was such a popular actor by then, we had rockets and change coming on the stage from the balcony of Ravindra Kalakshetra, and I was facing him, and I said, "What the hell is going on?" And Shankar just said, just continue, don't worry. We had to kind of really hold ourselves back and deliver this play, which was shocking the middle class audiences of Bangalore. Incest. Actually sanctified. The play begins with a Yama-Yami Samvad. Yama and Yami were brother and sister. So Girish very, very cleverly begins the play with a Yama-Yami Samvada, and then he also kind of has this layer of the brother who goes away to Oxford. Now so many, when I see Girish's plays, I know so much he derives out of his own life experience, and he's not afraid to put it out there. There are lines in Anju Mallige where Gautam's character, which is a lot of Girish in Gautam's character. Gautam says, ನಾನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಫಾರಿನ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಅಂದಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಕ್ಕೇ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. That I will probably go back to India. When you say you're foreign returned, you're sure to get a job out there. There's another very, very poignant line in Anju Mallige, where Yamini talks. The play in English, Anju Mallige, means the frightened flower, the frightened jasmine, actually, Mallige. So there's a line that Yamini says, ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸಸಿ ಹೂ ಬಿಡದಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತದೇನಾ? ಅದನ್ನು ಬೇರು ಸಮೇತ ಅಗದು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ, ಮಣ್ಣೊರೆಸಿ ಬಿಸಿಲಿಗೆ ಒಣಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಾಯಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೆದರ್ಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ನೆಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಸಿ ಫಳಫಳ ಅಂತ ಹೂ ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ, ಹೆದರಿಕೆಗೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಹೂವು. That encapsulates almost every Indian who goes out of the country. This allegory. So I'll just translate it because the Anju Mallige is not, I couldn't find the printed version. She says, you know what they do to a jasmine plant when it refuses to give flowers? They pull it out from the roots, show it to the sun, frighten it. They say, we will kill you. Frighten it, wipe off the mud from the roots and plant it again. The jasmine flowers. It gives flowers, it flourishes. So for us, I mean, I was about 22 when I did Anju Mallige, to look at life, to look at this whole journey of life, brother-sister relationship with country, relationship with another culture, looking at racism, these kind of things were not coming to us through our Indian plays. Just as he said, he was not getting what he wanted through the Indian plays, we were not getting it through the Indian plays. And that was the time when a Karnad was happening, a Tendulkar was happening, Mohan Rakesh, Badal Sarkar, this whole movement, post-colonial Indian theatre movement was happening, and we were witness to it. We were really the fortunate generation that got to see all this churning happening. All this churning, watching the Dubey that Girish talks about so often, getting to see his work, Amrish Puri, all of them. One has watched that movement of Chabildas, the anti-commercial theatre. Marathi theatre had a very flourishing commercial theatre, and I was part of it, that too. I got to work in the Marathi commercial plays, Gujarati commercial plays, and also luckily was working with IPTA. So one had these tall, huge personalities around, people like Kafi Azmi or people like R.M. Singh, A.K. Hangal. These were people who shared their lives with you. They shared the books that they read. Just sitting around them for 10 minutes meant you went home with some nugget that you could think about. Like Girish says, when he sat around G.B. Joshi or Bendre or Keetnath, he got something. And Shankar and me used to also be like that. We would just wait for Girish to give us an opportunity to come to his house, and we would land up in Saras's house and lap up every word that he was speaking, because we knew we were getting something out of it. Either it was about history or about politics. Next comes my play Nagamandala. Nagamandala he wrote and gave it to Shankar and said, see if you want to do this. And Nagamandala is from the folk myth category of plays that he wrote, which has these flat characters. And then you get what you want from it. You watch it as a folk tale opening out in front of you, and the layers are for you to grasp. It is simply about a woman who's married off to this horrible man who locks her up in the night and goes away to his concubine, and she's left alone. And what does she do in the night? She just counts the tiles. Comes an old woman who gives her this magical root and tells her you should give it in the food to your husband, and then he will fall in love with you. And when the little girl puts that root into the cauldron that's going to make the rasam or sambar for him, the husband comes home and shouts at her. There are explosions in that vessel, and she picks up the vessel and goes and pours it on the snake pit that's outside the house. And the old woman had also said to her that whoever consumes this potion the first person in a very typically Midsummer Night's Dream kind of a parallel, he will fall in love with the first person he sees. And so, when this boiling potion is poured into the snake pit, out comes the cobra, sees the girl and falls just in love with her. That is the snake husband story. And then there is this whole dichotomy of the snake husband coming to meet his lover at night and the horrible husband coming in the daytime. And the confusion, which is there in every woman's life. I mean, many a times you have this extremely loving husband at night and you don't know what to do with the man you're dealing with in the daytime. But Nagamandla was an extremely enriching experience for all of us. Shankar directed it and we had done it in the Chitrakala Parishad. That play became a landmark in the Kannada theatre. And it was Shankar decided to do it as a musical, though Girish did not write it as a musical. There were huge paragraphs, many monologues, which Shankar really felt he could do without. So he asked Girish if he had any objections, if some of those monologues could be made into songs. And Girish, of course, happily said, you can do it. I will sing one of those songs for you. It is Rani, the young girl who is married to this horrible man. And she's locked up in her house. She looks at the rafters and she sings. Ada gwadi ada suru dinavella bejaru tiriotti nettu siru yadyaga churu churu bandanena yaduru nindanena barani surataka andanena ದನದ ಕೊರಳ ಗಂಟಿ ಜಿರುಂಡಿ ಝೇಂಕಾರ ಮನದ ದುಃಖವೋ ಮಾಯ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ಓಂಕಾರ ರಾತ್ರಿ ರಾಣಿಯ ಗಂಧ ತಂದಾನೇನ ಖಾತ್ರಿಲೆ ಒಂಟಿತನ ಕೊಂದಾನೇನ ಬಂದಾನೇನ ಎದುರು ನಿಂದಾನೇನ. I think most of you must have understood what it is about. Has my lover come? Is he going to come and stand in front of me? Ada gwadi, ada suru, dinavella bejaru. I look at the same walls and the same roof all day long. Dinavella tidiotti nettu suru, yadyaga churu churu. My heart really goes, and I keep thinking of whether my lover will come. Will he come and stand in front of me? So this was a soliloquy that was converted into a song by Gopal Vajpayee. And the music was given by Ashwath. There was another very beautiful song about the union of the snake man and this girl, Rani, which was also converted into a song. It was extremely ethereal, the visuals, because the story also had these lamps who are witness to this union, this unusual union of man and another creature. Can there be love between the two? Mayadu man, what's it? Mayadu manada bhara, tagadhanga yella dwara, yena yenidu, yentha beraga, kattodeda hareda neera, yechagari kochi pura, yena yenidu, yentha beraga, yentha beraga. What kind of union is this? Nagamandla we did about 26 shows of the play. And then much later, we tried to revive the play, but it was very difficult to do it in outdoors. Those who got to see it, got to see it. That's the magic of theatre. But when Shankar passed away, and it took me quite long to get the pieces together, and then Rangashankara happened. And I suddenly realized, oh my God, I have to run this place. It's not only about building the theatre, I have to run it. And Girish said, see, we lose a good actress and we get a bad administrator. So he was the one who just gave these one-liners and put me in my place. Vandanandu Kaladali over, Nagamandala, and then Bikhre Bimb. Girish wrote Vodkalu Bimba, and he said to me, you know, you can't be not acting, so I've written a play for you. You better act. And you know what he did. He directed the play because he was not confident that this piece can be interpreted by any other director. So we've got to have Girish Karnad as my director. Such a privileged position to be able to do it in Kannada, and we wanted to open the play in Kannada. So I did it in Kannada, and Arundhati Raja did it in English. After we did it in Kannada, we realized that the rest of India had not seen the play. So we needed to do it in another language. And which language was that? That had to be Hindi, because Arundhati Raja, after a few shows, said that she was not feeling up to it. She was feeling very pressurized to do too many shows. See, I come from a commercial theatre background. I can do 100 shows in a month. Give me shows, I'll do them. But when you're in the amateur theatre doesn't have that kind of rigor and the robust energy to be able to do that many shows. So the English show closed down, and then Girish said, okay, now we'll probably have to do it in Hindi, and he requested my sister Padmavati Rao to translate the play into Hindi. And we did the play in Hindi, and we've done over 120 shows of that play in Hindi all over the country. With Bikhre Bimb, that's been the most difficult play that I have done in my life. The kind of layers that this woman has, just unravel like a murder mystery during the performance. Two sisters, and you're acting with your own image. The whole dice is rigged. The dice is rigged because the image, nothing can ever happen to her. You could drop dead and she's not going to stop. And the image is actually the one who knows everything about you, systematically destroying you. I'd just like to share something. Shabana Azmi went on to do this play in English, and it's called Broken Images. So going to be able to read it out to you, but Shabana wrote a very, very beautiful letter to Girish after doing Broken Images about this character and what this character really challenges the actor to do. Because Girish leaves spaces. It is about two sisters and a husband, a man, and the relationship between the two sisters and this man. One sister is challenged by the intelligence and the intellect. There's this confrontation scene between the image and Manjula Naik, where the image is actually prodding her, trying to get her to accept that there was a relationship between her husband and her sister. It is a very complicated relationship. And so Manjula's character is the one who's getting cornered, who's getting systematically cornered by the image. So the image, finally Manjula says, हाँ बातें बातें पर कैसी बातें चल रही थी उन दोनों के बीच में. मैंने कई तरह के प्रयोग करके देखे. सामने का दरवाज़ा खोलते वक्त दरवाजे में चाबी के घूमने की आवाज़ होने से मेरे दहलीज के अंदर पहुंचने तक प्रमोद अपने मेज से चिपका हुआ मिलता, एकाग्र चित्त से काम में खोया हुआ होता, और ये मालिनी अपने लैपटॉप या अपनी किताबों में मग्न होती. पर कितने ही मग्न क्यों न हो, मुझे देखते ही मेरे स्वागत के लिए अपने चेहरे पर कोमल सी मुस्कान लाए बिना न रहती। और कभी अगर मैं बस यूं ही घर में चली जाती तो जो बात बड़े जोश से चल रही होती एकदम एकदम रुक जाती। अगले ही पल में मालिनी रुकी हुई बात को यूं आराम से आगे बढ़ाकर मुझे भी उसमें पिरो लेती। हमेशा वही, ये मेरे साहब ने इतनी होशियारी कभी नहीं सीखी। सो द इमेज सेज, पर कैसी बातें, 6 साल तक इनकी बातें सिर्फ दिल लगी तक रही, हो नहीं सकता। सो देन दिस वन इज ट्रैप्ड एंड शी सेज, हाँ एक बार ना मैं बस यूं ही ऐसे ही घर में शामिल हो गई। हाँ, अंदर झगड़ा चल रहा था, ये पति पत्नी का झगड़ा चलता है ना, वैसे मालिनी मानव संस्कृति के लिए शब्द का होना कितना ज़रूरी है, इस बात पर बहस कर रही थी। और ये प्रमोद इलेक्ट्रॉनिक प्रतिमा की ओर से बड़बड़ाव में लगा हुआ था। मनुष्य की बौद्धिक प्रगति के लिए कौन सा पूरक है, कौन सा हानिकारक, इस बात पर बहस। मैंने सोचा इसमें झगड़ने की क्या बात है, और सहज अंदर कदम रखा तो दोनों की जैसे सांस रुक गई। चोरी छिपे चल रहे संभोग में मानो मैं अचानक घुस गई थी। मैं ही से हर गई। फौरन मालिनी ने बात को आगे बढ़ाया और कहा, अरे आओ अक्का, तुम्हारी क्या राय है? जाहिर है मैं इस प्रयोग को बार बार नहीं कर पाती, उन्हें मेरे आने जाने का टाइम टेबल मालूम था। कई बार मुझे लगता था ये मेरा घर नहीं है, वेटिंग रूम है। And she says, मालिनी तुम्हारे घर आई, इसका तुम्हारे बिस्तर पर कोई असर नहीं पड़ा? And my character says, क्यों पड़ता? प्रमोद कमर के नीचे पैरालाइज नहीं था। But Girish, as a playwright, gets into the head of the women. I had no idea how he can do this. Just no idea. The layers, and it's so incisive, the intent, the way one human being can actually try to destroy another human being with just words. Just words. In theatre, it's all only words. Just words. The way he portrays this relationship through the image, becoming the sister, actually trying to destroy this woman. And some shows you play the role with so much sympathy for this woman that the audience is with you. And actually what Girish wanted to show was that this is a calculated move. Manjula has planned it. The moment she was betrayed by her sister, she knows that she wants to destroy her. This is a calculated move. She wants to take the book, put her name on it. I don't know, I can't thank Girish more. No other actress has had this privileged position of being directed by him. He would come to my house and sit there with his bottle of water and his bag and notes and watch me rehearsing. It's a very lonely play because you're rehearsing only with your image. No other actor, no co-actor. But Girish would come for one rehearsal before every run. And he would make these notes and give them to me. But I have also caught him smirk and smile to himself with almost this, one could see that, wow, what a lovely line I've written. This is really so good. Too good. The same Girish would constantly remind me during my Rangashankara time. I had gone off to Switzerland to learn puppetry, and I wrote to him saying that it feels very nice to be an assistant puppeteer, and the distance from Rangashankara and Bangalore has made me feel quite good because after Shankar went, I've not taken this break. And he wrote back, that mail I can't find now, he wrote back to me saying, this is a trap. You are at the height of your creativity right now. You don't need to be somebody's assistant director. And challenge yourself, don't rest on your laurels. You're a good actor, and there are very few in the country who can do what you have done, so keep at it, but don't rest on your laurels. When you come back, let us sit down and talk and decide what you have to do next. A senior person like him who's involved in so many other things, having a moment to spare. It's not as though Girish and I spoke every day or nothing of the sort, but whenever I wanted to ask a question, whenever I felt that this is too difficult for me to sort, or that Rangashankara is too big and I don't know what to do, I knew that Girish was there. I knew I could always pick up the phone and talk to him and say, Girish, I need to come and talk to you. What do you think we should be doing next? So I'm going to miss Girish very much. We will try to do things the way he wanted us to do it. We will try to be bold in the theatre that we do. We will try to interpret his work and give it the meaning that he had already put there inside it. We will only have to try. हिंदी में एक डायलॉग है, वो दीप स्तंभ है, हम जहाज़ों को चाहिए कि दीप स्तंभ की रोशनी में रास्ता देखे. For me and for many, many of us, Girish has been like a beacon, like a lighthouse. It wasn't necessary for us to meet him every day. His works were there. Everything that he has written, the way he lived his life, the way he even went, everything. There's so much for us to learn. So, thank you, Girish. We will miss you. You will not be at the end of a telephone line, hello, hello. But you're there in our head and everything that you have given us. Thank you.
ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಇವತ್ತು. ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಕಾರ್ನಾಡ್ರನ್ನು ಕೊನೆಯ ಸಲ ಅವರ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಬೀಳ್ಕೊಡುವ ನಿಮಿಷಗಳ ಮೊದಲು ಅವರ ನಾಟಕದ ಕೆಲವು ಸಾಲುಗಳನ್ನು ನಾನು ಓದಿದೆ. ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಅರ್ಜುನ್ ಸಜ್ಜನಾನಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಸಾಲುಗಳನ್ನು ಓದಿದರು. ನನಗೇನು ಓದಬೇಕಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರ ಪುಸ್ತಕದ ರಾಶಿಯಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಸಮಗ್ರ ಸಂಪುಟವನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಗಮಂಡಲದ ಒಂದು ಪೇಜನ್ನು ಅವರು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದರು. ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದರು ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಅವರ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಇರುವ ಏನನ್ನಾದರೂ ಓದಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸಿ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಅದು ರಾಣಿಯ ಒಂದು ದುಗುಡವನ್ನು, ಈಗ ಅರುಂಧತಿ ನಾಗ್ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದರು, ಆ ರಾಣಿಯ ದುಗುಡವನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಅವಳ ಆ ದಾಂಪತ್ಯ, ಅದರ ಗಿಲೀಟು, ಅದರ ಕಳವಳ, ಅವನು ಗಂಡ ಬರುವ ಹಗಲತ್ತಲ್ಲೊಬ್ಬ ಗಂಡ, ರಾತ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲೊಬ್ಬ ಗಂಡ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಳ ಒಂದು ನಿವೇದನೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಅದನ್ನು ಓದ್ತಾ ನನಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯವರೆಗೂ, ಅಂದರೆ ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಸಾವಿನ ಸಮ್ಮುಖದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ನಂಬಾಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನನಗೆ ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ಓದ್ತಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ಭಾವವಶನಾಗಿ ಹೋದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಸಾಲುಗಳ ಶಕ್ತಿಗೆ. ಅದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಬಾರಿಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಅದೇ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಈ ಸಾಲುಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು. ಅದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾದ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು. ಅವರ ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಆ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ತುಂಬ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅದೃಷ್ಟವಂತರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅದೃಷ್ಟವಂತರು ಅಂದರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಲೇಖಕನಿಗೆ ತನ್ನ ಭಾಷೆ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದದ್ದು. ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ಭಾಷೆ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ತನ್ನ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮನಸ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅರಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ತುಂಬ ಅರ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಗಿರೀಶ್ಗೆ ಅದು ತನಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತು ಅಂತ ಕಂಡುಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಅವರು. ಈ ಯಯಾತಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಮಾತುಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ತಾನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಯಯಾತಿಯನ್ನು ಬರದೆ ಅಂತ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣೆದುರಿಗೆ ಈ ದೃಶ್ಯಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋದವು. ನಾನೊಬ್ಬ ಸ್ಟೆನೋಟೈಪಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಂತ. ಯು ಮಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್. ನಾನೊಬ್ಬ ಸ್ಟೆನೋಟೈಪಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಂತ. ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಭಾಷೆಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ, ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ, ಒಂದು ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಯಯಾತಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಇಡೀ ಥೀಮಿನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಂಥ ಗಾಢವಾದ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ತನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣೆದುರಿಗೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ಮೀರಿ ಜರುಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಅವರೊಂದು ಭಾಳ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ, ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈ ನಾಟಕ ರಚನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರಹದ ಪರವಶತೆಯ ಅನುಭವ ತದನಂತರ ನನಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಒಬ್ಬ ನಾಟಕಕಾರನಿಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಬ್ಬ ಲೇಖಕನಿಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಅನುಭವ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಅಪೂರ್ವವಾದದ್ದು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಈ ಬರವಣಿಗೆಯ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಾದ ಮೇಲೆ, ತನ್ನನ್ನು ಮೀರಿದ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ತನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಘಟಿಸ್ತು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೆನ್ನತ್ತಿ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾತೊರೆಯೋದು ಒಬ್ಬ ಲೇಖಕನ ಜೀವಮಾನವಿಡೀ ಜರುಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದನ್ನು ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಕೊನೆಯ ಕ್ಷಣದವರೆಗೂ ಮಾಡಿದರು. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಹತ್ತಿರದಿಂದ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಎರಡು ಘಟನೆಗಳು ಬಹುಶಃ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ತಂದು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು, ಅವರು ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಯಯಾತಿ ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ದೊರೆತ ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ, ಅವ್ರ ನಾಟಕ ಬರೆದದ್ದು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ ಪರವಶತೆಯ ಅನುಭವ, ಮತ್ತು ಯಯಾತಿಗೆ ಅವರು ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕ ಮನ್ನಣೆ, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ತುಂಬ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಕವಿಯಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದೆ, ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಕವಿಯಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ನಾಟಕ ಓದಿ ಉಚ್ಚೇದಿತರಾಗುವ, ಕೋಪಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವ, ಬೈಯುವ, ಹೊಗಳುವ ಜನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಪರಭಾಷೆಯ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರು ಬಿಡಲು ಹವಣಿಸಬೇಕು? ಇದನ್ನು ಹೀಗೆ ಅನಿಸಿದ ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಬಂದು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಘಲಕ್ ಬರೆದ್ರು. ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನು ಅವ್ರ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಬರೆದ್ರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ಅವರ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಓದಿದಾಗ ಈ ತುಘಲಕ್ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಒದಗೋದು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಹಯವದನ, ಕಪಿಲ, ಪದ್ಮಿನಿ, ಒಟ್ಟು ತಲೆದಂಡದ ಬಸವಣ್ಣ ಅಂತೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯವರೇನೆ. ಅವರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳು, ಇವನ್ ಅಂಜುಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜೀವಂತವಾಗಿ ಮೂಡಿಬರ್ತವೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ತಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನು, ಕನ್ನಡನೇ ಭಾಳ ಒಂಥರ ಮೋಹಕವಾದದ್ದು ಅದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಮರಾಠಿಯ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಇತ್ತು, ಕೊಂಕಣಿಯ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಇತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅವರು ಬರೆಯೋ ಗದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಕು, ಕತ್ತಲೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ನಾಟಕಕಾರರಿಂದ ಬೆಳಕು, ಕತ್ತಲೆ, ಧ್ವನಿ, ಬಣ್ಣ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಅವರ ಗದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ನಾನೊಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಅವರ ಆತ್ಮಚರಿತ್ರೆಯಿಂದ. ಶಂಕರ್ ರಾಯರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಶಂಕರ್ ರಾಯ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಏನಂದರೆ, ಅವರು ಸಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆದ್ದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ದಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ 2 sentences. ಶಂಕರರಾಯರು ಬಹಳ ಉದಾರರು, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮುಂಗೋಪಿ. ಸಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆದ್ದರು ಎಂದರೆ ಅವರ ದನಿ ಮುರಿದ ಮೆಟ್ಟಲುಗಳನ್ನೇರುತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಮುರಿದ ಮೆಟ್ಟಲು ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹತ್ತೋದು ಈ ಚಿತ್ರ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರ ದನಿ ಮುರಿದ ಮೆಟ್ಟಲುಗಳನ್ನೇರುತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ ನಡಗುತ್ತಾ, ತಡವುತ್ತಾ, ಶಬ್ದವನ್ನೇ ನೆಗೆದು ಅರ್ಧಕ್ಕರ್ಧ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳನ್ನೇ ನುಂಗಿ ತಾರಸಪ್ತಕ ತಲುಪುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಚ್ ಎ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಲೈನ್. ಅವರು ಹಾಗೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಬರೆಯೋ ಲೇಖಕರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಇದು ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪೇಜ್ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ಬೋದು. ಆ ಥರ ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಲೇಖಕರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅವರ ಮಾತೃಭಾಷೆ ಕೊಂಕಣಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕನ್ನಡನ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಒಲಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡದ್ದು. ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಲೇಖಕರಿಗೆ, ಅದು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಂದ್ರೆಗೂ ಇತ್ತು, ಗಿರೀಶ್ರಿಗಿದೆ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಹಲವಾರು ಲೇಖಕರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಒಲಿಸಿಕೊಂಡ ಭಾಷೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅವರ ಶಬ್ದ ಭಂಡಾರ ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಒಂಚೂರು ವಿವರಿಸಬೇಕು. ಉತ್ತರ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಲೇಖಕನಿಗೆ ಅವನು ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದು ಉಸಿರಾಡಿದ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ಸಂಪತ್ತನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಉಳಿದ, ಅಂದರೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಂಥಿಕವಾದ ಶಬ್ದವನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ಮೈಸೂರು ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸೋದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಆದರೆ ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಅಂತ ಲೇಖಕರಿಗೆ ಇಡೀ ಕನ್ನಡನೇ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅದು ಅವರು ಒಲಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ ಭಾಷೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ರಾಂಥಿಕ ಅಥವಾ ಮೈಸೂರು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಭೇದ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ರೋಪ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸೂಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರ ಭಾಷೆಯ ರೇಂಜ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ತುಂಬ ವಿಶಾಲವಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಒಂದು ಅನ್ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರು. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಭಾಷೆಗೊಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಒಂದು ಮೋಹಕವಾದ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬೇಂದ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ, ಚಿತ್ತಾಲರಲ್ಲೂ ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾತೃಭಾಷೆ ಕೊಂಕಣಿ ಅಲ್ವೋ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಅಲ್ವೋ, ಅವರು ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ರೇಂಜ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನನಗನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು ನಿಜವಾಗಲೂ ಅವರ ನಾಟಕಗಳು, ಅದು ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ, ವಿಡಂಬನೆ, ಇಂಥದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಸ್ಯಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆಯೋ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಸಲ ಒಂದು ಆಧುನಿಕ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಒಂದು ವೇದನೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದು ಪುರುವಿನ ವಾಕ್ಯದ ಮೂಲಕ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ದೇವರೇ ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರ ಅರ್ಥವೇನು ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ಆಧುನಿಕ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಒಂದು ವೇದನೆಯನ್ನು ಮೊದಲ ಬಾರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ತಂದವರು ಕಾರ್ನಾಡ್. ಅವ್ರ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಶ್ರೀರಂಗ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದರು. ಆದರೂ ಆ ಶ್ರೀರಂಗರ ನಾಟಕಗಳ ರೀತಿಯೇ ಒಂದು ಬೇರೆ. ಕಾರ್ನಾಡ್ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಕೇವಲ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಮತ್ತು ಮಿತ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಒಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ವೈಚಾರಿಕ ಪ್ರಪಂಚವನ್ನು ನಾಟಕದೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ತಂದರು. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಟ್ಟು ನಾಟ್ಯ ಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಪಾರವಾದ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಕಾರ್ನಾಡ್ರಿಗೆ. ನೀವು ಅವರ ವಿಮರ್ಶಾ ಲೇಖನಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದರೆ, ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಮೃಚ್ಛಕಟಿಕ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಕನಕೋಟೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ನಾಟಕಕಾರ ಒಂದು ನಾಟ್ಯ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಆ ಲೇಖನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ಬೋದು. ಅವು ತುಂಬ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಲೇಖನಗಳು. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಮರ್ಶಾ ಸಂಕಲನ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕಳೆದ 100 ವರ್ಷದ ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನು ಎಚ್ ಎಸ್ ರಾಘವೇಂದ್ರರಾವ್ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ವಿಮರ್ಶೆಗಳ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ನಾಡರ ಕಾಕನಕೋಟೆಯ ಲೇಖನ ಸೇರಿದೆ. ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಲೇಖನ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಈ ನಾಟ್ಯ ಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರುವ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಈ 3 ಲೇಖನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಹರಿಜನ್ವಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಬರೆದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಮೃಚ್ಛಕಟಿಕತೆ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ, ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಚೂರು ಬಿರುಕಿಲ್ಲದ ಹಾಗೆ ನಾಟಕ ಸಂರಚನೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಕಲೆಯನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ತಂದವರು ಕಾರ್ನಾಡರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ತುಂಬ ಸಡ್ಲಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಬಂಧಗಳಿರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಒಂದು ಸಡ್ಲಾಗಿರೋದು. ಆದರೆ ಕಾರ್ನಾಡರ ತುಘಲಕ್ ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಒಂದು ನಾಟಕಗಳ ಮಟ್ಟವೇ ಬೇರೆ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನು ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಭಾಳ ಹತ್ತಿರದಿಂದ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅವರ ಮದುವೆ ಆಲ್ಬಮ್ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಅದರದ್ದು ಮೊದಲ ಓದುಗ ನಾನೇ. ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ದೇಶಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ 3 ಭಾಗಗಳನ್ನು ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸಿದೆ. ಅವರ ಆತ್ಮಚರಿತ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲು 3 ಭಾಗಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾನೇ ಮೊದಲು ಓದಿದ್ದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ದೇಶಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಟಿಸಿದೆ. ಆ ಮದುವೆ ಆಲ್ಬಮ್ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಅದು ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀತಿದ್ರು ಕನ್ನಡನ. ಅವ್ರು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬರೀತಿದ್ರು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ವರ್ಷನ್ ವಾಸ್ ಹಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಎಡಿಟ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಅದು ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ DTP ಮಾಡಿಸಿದೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ದೆನ್ ಐ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಹಿಮ್. ಅದು ನಾನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ಟು ರೀಟೈಪ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ರೀಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಟ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ವಿತ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಮೆನಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್. Then I told him, you can do it in your, when you come out with a book. And we published those 3 scenes from wedding album. ಇದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಒಂದು ಸಲ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಲೇಖನದಲ್ಲಿ ಪನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದನ ಬಳಸಿದೆ. ಪನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಿನ ಪನ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬಳಸ್ತಾ, ನನ್ನ ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪನ್ ಅಂತ ಬಳಸಿದೆ. ಅದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದುಬಿಡ್ತು. ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೆಯುವಾಗ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಹಾಕಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರದ್ದೊಂದು ಇದು. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಶ್ಲೇಷ ಅನ್ನುವ ಶಬ್ದ ಇದೆ. ನೀನು ಅದನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಠಿಣ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಶ್ಲೇಷ ಅನ್ನೋದು ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಬರಲ್ಲ ನಾಲ್ಗೆಗೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಪನ್ ಅಂತ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿದ್ದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವರು ನನಗೆ ಪತ್ರ ಬರೆದು ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅದನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬಾರ್ದು, ನೀನು ಶ್ಲೇಷ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನೇ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ನೀವು ಅವರ ಲೇಖನಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ಕೂಡ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಶಬ್ದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯತೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಕೆಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಒಂದು ರೋಮನ್ ಲಿಪಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಭಾಷೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಕೆಲವು ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ಗಳಿದ್ದವು. ಇನ್ನು ಅವರ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನು ತಿದ್ದೋದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಅವರ ಕೊನೆಯವರೆಗೂ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನು ತಿದ್ದುತ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಹೊಸ ಮುದ್ರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವರ ಮಾತಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಲ್ ಹರಿಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಕರಳು ಬಳ್ಳಿ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಏನು ಹರಿದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಯಾವ ನಾಟಕದ ಜೊತೆಗೂ ಅಂದ. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದು ತುಂಬ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಅಂತ ಅವರ ನಾಟಕಗಳು ಜಗತ್ತಿನಾದ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶಿತವಾಗಿವೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಟರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದರೂ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಡಿಷನ್ನಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ತನಗೆ ಬದಲಾಯಿಸಿದರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗೋ ಖುಷಿ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಏನೊಂದು ಹೊಸದೊಂದು ಸರಿಯಾದ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದು ನಾಟಕ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಖ್ಯಾತಿ ಇದು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಅವರ ಜೀವನದ ಇಡೀ ತೊಡಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡೊಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ನಾಟಕಕಾರ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧವಾದ ನಾಟಕಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಆಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಕರನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಅವರ ಈ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಎಡಿಷನ್ನಿಗೂ ಬದಲಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಏನೇ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳಿರಲಿ ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಅವರ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊನೆಯ ನಾಟಕದವರೆಗೂ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವರು ಥಿಯೇಟ್ರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರು ಲಂಡನ್ನಿಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಆ 3 ವರ್ಷ ನಾನು ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ನಿಮಿತ್ತ ಲಂಡನ್ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೆ. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಭೇಟಿಯಾದಾಗ ಅವರು 2 ತಿಂಗಳು ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅವ್ರು ಹೋಗಿ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಭೇಟಿಯಾದೆ. ಆ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು 60 ನಾಟಕ ನೋಡಿದರು. ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಒಂದು ನಾಟಕ ನೋಡಿದರು ಅವರು, ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ. ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದರು ನನಗೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದು. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ನನಗೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆ ನಾಟಕ ಆಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅವರು, ನನಗೆ ನನ್ನ ನಾಟಕದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ಹೊಸದೊಂದೇನೋ ಹುಡುಕಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಪ್ರಚೋದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದರು. ಅದು ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆ, ಫೋಕಸ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊನೆವರೆಗೂ ಇತ್ತು. ನನಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನನಗೆ ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಂಬಂಧಗಳಿದ್ದು. ನಾನು ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನಾನು ದೇಶಕಾಲ ಎಡಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಲಂಡನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ತುಂಬ ಜಗಳ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆದರೆ ಅವರು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಜಗಳವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ, ಈಗ ಅನಂತಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು ತೀರ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಅವರು ಕೆಲವು ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಆಡಿದಂತ ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಭಾಳ ಜಗಳ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಅವರು ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿಸ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ತತ್ವದ ಜಗಳ ಅಂತಲೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಮತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನು ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ನಿಸ್ಪೃಹತೆ ಅವರ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದಲ್ಲೇ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾನು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಸಲ ಭೇಟಿಯಾದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನಗೆ ನೆನಪೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಭೇಟಿಯಾಗೋದು ಮುಂಚೆನೂ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿ ಓದಿ ಅವ್ರು ನನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲೇ ಇದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ನನ್ನ ತಾಯಿಯ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ಮೇಟ್, ಅವರ ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಮೂಲಕನೂ ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಂಕಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಬ್ಯಾತಾಳು ಅಂತ ಅಡ್ಡ ಹೆಸರಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ಅಂಬ್ಯಾತಾಳು ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾವಿನ ತಳಿರು. ಕೊಂಕಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಬ್ಯಾತಾಳು ಅಂದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾವಿನ ತಳಿರು. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ತೋರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಭೆ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ, ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಶುಭ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆ ಬಾಗಿಲಿಗೆ ತೋರಣ ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾಟಕ ಇರಲಿ, ಹಾಡಿರಲಿ, ಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆ ಇರಲಿ ಮುಂದಿರ್ತಿದ್ರಂತೆ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರ ಜೊತೆಯವರು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ, ಅಭಿಮಾನದಿಂದ ಇಟ್ಟ ಹೆಸರು ಅದು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಅವರು ಮುಂದೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಈ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಯನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡದ ಆಚೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ದೇಶದ ಆಚೆಗೆ ಪಸರಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯರಾಗಿದ್ದರು. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಅವರು ಅಂಬ್ಯಾತಾಳು ಆಗಿದ್ದರು ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರು ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯ ಬಾಲ್ಯಕಾಲದ ಘಟನೆಗಳು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಆ ಆತ್ಮಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗವನ್ನು ಓದಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು. ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಆ ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ತುಂಬ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಈ ಕತ್ತಲೆ ಮತ್ತು ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಸಂಬಂಧದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇದೆ. ಅವರು ಸಿರ್ಸಿ ಬಿಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಘಟನೆ ಇದೆ. ಅದು 4ನೇ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲಿದೆ. GK ಹೆಗಡೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರೊಬ್ಬರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಲಿಸೋ ಮಾಸ್ತರು. ಇವರು ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾರನೇ ದಿನ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ದಿವಸ ಸಂಜೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪೇಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇಟಿಯಾದರು. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ವರ್ಣಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಸೈಕಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದರು, ಒಂದು ಕಾಲನ್ನು ನೆಲಕ್ಕಿಟ್ಟು ಅವರು ಧೋತ್ರ ಉತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಧೋತ್ರದ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಿಪ್ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು ಹಿಂದೆ. ಧೋತ್ರ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು, ಒಂದು ಧೋತ್ರ ಕ್ಲಿಪ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕೋತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ಧೋತ್ರ ಕ್ಲಿಪ್ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು, ಆ ಕಾಲನ್ನು ನೆಲಕ್ಕೆ ಊರಿದ್ರು. ಅದ್ರ ಕಾಲಿನ ಸ್ನಾಯುಗಳು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವು. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಂತೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಮಾತು ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಿಡಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರಂತೆ ಅವರು. ಇದು ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯ ಅವರ ಕೊನೆಯ ದಿನದ್ದು. ಸಿರ್ಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಸುಮಾರು 10 ವರ್ಷ ಅವರು ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ದೀಪ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರು. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾರಾನ್ ಓದಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅದು ಚಿತ್ರವತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ. ಮೊದಲನೆಯದು ಗಾಢ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯ ಅನುಭವ. ನಾವು ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವವರೆಗೆ ಶಿರಸಿಗೆ ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಬಂದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ರಾಯರಪೇಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಮನೆಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊನೆಗೂ ಜೋಡಿಸಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಟ್ಟು 10 ವರ್ಷ ನನ್ನ ಕುಟುಂಬ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯನ್ನು ಅನುಭವಿಸುತ್ತಲೇ ಬಾಳಿತು. ಅನುಭವಿಸುತ್ತಲೇ ಎನ್ನುವುದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸವಿಯುತ್ತಲೇ ಎನ್ನುವುದು ಸಮರ್ಪಕವಾದಿತ್ತು. ಇದರರ್ಥ ನಾನು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಆಗಮನವನ್ನು, ಉಪಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಹೀಗಳೆಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಎಂದಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡುವುದು ಮೂರ್ಖತನವಾದಿತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ಚನ್ನು ಒತ್ತಿದೊಡನೆ ಅನಾಯಾಸವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ನೆರವಿಗೆ ಬರುವ ಚಕಾಚಕ್ ಬೆಳಗುವ ಪ್ರಕಾಶದಿಂದಾಗಿ ನಮಗೂ ಬೆಳಕಿಗೆ ಇರುವ ನವಿರಾದ ಅನಿಶ್ಚಿತ ಸಂಬಂಧವೇ ನಷ್ಟವಾದಂತಿದೆ. ಗಾಢವಾದ ಕತ್ತಲಲ್ಲಿ, ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ವಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಕೇ ಇಲ್ಲದಿರುವಾಗ ಕಣ್ಣು ಗೊಂಬೆಗಳು ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಎಳೆಗಳನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಾ ಅಂಧುಕ ಆಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಸಲಾರಂಭಿಸುತ್ತವೆ. ಅಂಥ ಕತ್ತಲೆಗೂ ನಿಶ್ಶಬ್ದತೆಗೂ ಘನಿಷ್ಠವಾದ ಸಂಬಂಧವಿದೆ. ಆ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಮೌನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಕು 100 ಬಗೆಯಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನು 100 ಬಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಚೋದಿಸುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಚಿಮಣಿಯ ಬುಡ್ಡಿ, ಕಂದೀಲು, ಹಣತೆ, ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಪೆಟ್ರೋಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ದೀಪ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರಹದ ದೀಪಗಳ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಬತ್ತಿಯ ಅಂಚು ಕರಕಲಾದಾಗ ಪಿಕಪಕ್ಕನೆ ಕುಡಿಯುವ ಕುಡಿ, ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಮುಗಿದಾಗ ಅಸಹಾಯವಾಗಿ ಮುಳುಗುವ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ, ಉರಿಯುವ ಕೆಂಡದ ಕಾಂತಿ, ಇವು ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಗೋಡೆ, ಮರದ ಕಂಬ, ಸೆಗಣಿ ಸಾರಿಸಿದ ನೆಲ, ಕಂಬಳಿಯ ಗೊಪ್ಪೆಯ ಹೆಣಿಗೆ, ಇಂಥ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶಕತೆಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಸಿದ ಲಾವಣ್ಯ ಇಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಲೈಟಿನ ನೆರಳಿಲ್ಲದ ಏಕತಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಬಲ್ಬುಗಳ ದಿಢೀರ್ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳೆದು ಹೋಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಆ ಸುಕುಮಾರತೆ, ಆ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯ ಇನ್ನು ಬೇಕೆಂದು ಹುಡುಕಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ ಹೊರತು ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗಲಾರದು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
I'm going to read because I think that will help me get through this. So I met the Karnads, all 4 of them, just over 30 years ago. I was well on my way to being a snotty little intellectual when I was felled by a thunderbolt. A bona fide movie star and his family were moving in across the street from where I lived in Chicago. Girish was to spend a year at the university, doing nothing, apparently, other than being himself. As it turned out, he taught 1 class. I studied Bhasa's Karanabhara with him, also Shakuntala, and Girish's favorite play of all time, Mrichakatika. I remember him saying, if you want to understand the plot of that play, follow the box of jewels. I was writing my dissertation at the time, and as it happened, Girish and I each had an office on the same floor of Foster Hall. I was writing about Hanuman, and he was writing something. I had started a paper recycling box outside my office door, and soon I noticed that as the evening wore on, and there were less and less people in the building, this famous man, of whom I was still, or at the time, completely in awe, was drifting by frequently, unobtrusively, and dropping things into the box. So I overcame the shreds of my dignity and started to rummage in the box for what he was sliding in there. I found sheets of paper, sparsely endowed with a script which I could not read, but was obviously Kannada. He wrote with a sense of largesse. His writing was small, but there were vast empty spaces between the lines he had written. There were wide margins. There was space and time on that page to have a second thought, a new idea, a temporary expression that could accommodate a newer iteration. So I started to collect those sheets of paper. They were the early drafts of Nagamandala. I brought them home each night with glee and with a sense of importance, because I too was going to be a part of history. Nagamandala was performed as Play with a Cobra at the University of Chicago the weekend that Girish turned 50. It was May 1988. So I've known the Karnads more than half my life. Like so many others, many of whom are in this room tonight, I have been part of conversations, soirees, arguments, celebrations in a home that always expanded to fit the number of people who happened to be there. I've been scolded for smoking cigarettes by mothers and grandmothers. I've also been told, I'm going to sleep now. You know where the whiskey is? When these people are done, close the door and leave. There's a taxi waiting for you outside. Many, many people have been entertained and have taken shelter in the homes that the Karnad family has created in cities across the country and across the world. If we were to join hands as house guests and dinner companions and fellow travelers of this family, I have no doubt that we would make a human chain from here to Bombay, at least. When Sanjay and I came to live in Bangalore in 1990, the Karnads embraced us like long-lost friends. We were taken here and there and everywhere. We were at parties at their house where we were introduced to Shankar Nag, Aruna, Gwayanke, Karant, Anand Murthy, Kambar, Ambarish, all of them as if they were potted plants or pieces of furniture. It didn't matter who you were when you were in that charmed circle. Everyone was treated with the same respect, or in the case of Girish's fabled impatience, the same disdain. We met some of the great minds of my generation in that generous home, and everyone was treated in exactly the same way. Actually, the lower you were on the totem pole of that gathering, the more attention you got. These are moments that you treasure. These are moments that we have all experienced. And these are the moments that have brought us together today, not just in memory of a man who lived his life and times to the fullest, but also in acknowledgement of his family and their enormous personal loss that they are so graciously allowing us to share in such a public way. Thank you. So as we recall Girish's multifaceted contributions across languages and disciplines of thought and practice, Ram has asked me to speak briefly about how Girish used myth and history in his best known and best loved plays. As I have come to know these plays better over the years, I see that for Girish, myth was history and history was myth. His was a profound understanding, not the frivolous, anti-intellectual, politically motivated conflation of myth and history and vice versa that we are being subjected to at this dangerous moment in our nation's life. Girish approaches and understands history as a place of the imagination, and he reads and interprets myth as an inflection of reality. For him, to separate the realms of so-called fact and imagination, to deny either as necessary dimensions of our minds, would leave us handicapped in our aspiration to live, to comprehend, and to express ourselves as fully as possible. This is true whether we are men or women, horses or snakes, even if we are roosters made of dough who come to life only in the moment of their death. I believe that Girish can bring history and myth together because he sees the characters that inhabit the stories of myth and history as chasing the same existential dream, immortality, which is essentially nothing more and nothing less than the manipulation of time. Through their lived ambitions and their imagined dreams, historical characters such as Tughlaq and Tipu turn personal time, the life of a human being, into historical time. Each acts carefully and conscientiously so that he will be remembered. In such characters, the human individual who is born and dies in historical time aspires to a kind of immortality. They want to live forever in their fame and reputation, if not in their bodies. Mythological or cosmic time, in plays such as Yayati and The Fire and the Rain, however, we see the opposite. Mythological or cosmic time is expressed and understood only in and through the self. Yayati confronts the curse that will diminish his physical self. His body will rot before its time. Aravasu in The Fire and the Rain has a chance to stop the wheel of time, to reverse it such that his beloved will live again. The priest in Flowers kills himself because he cannot carry the burden of grace that a God who he took for granted has shown him. The reason that Girish stands head and shoulders over 3 generations of playwrights that are his contemporaries is that his work questions itself fiercely and visibly. Girish's male characters try to manipulate time to control the future. For that, they count on their greatness being remembered by others, or they count on a self that sings its own song for others to hear and hopefully to repeat. But these male characters, already so rich and true, are countered by equally rich and compelling female characters who place sexual desire at the front and center of their lives. Characters such as Padmini in Hayavadana, Rani in Nagamandala, Vishakha in The Fire and the Rain, even Yamini in Anjumalige, are willing the consequences of their actions to happen in the here and the now. They act for the moment rather than for a future that lies ahead, just beyond their reach. Each of these women demands a life that can be lived fully in the present. Padmini, with the hybrid man of her own creation, who is both intellectually and physically attractive. Rani, with her insistence on the indubitable reality of her dream lover who visits her only at night. Vishakha, with her vindictive consummation of a betrayed love. And Yamini, with the corrosive jealousy of a rejected sibling. Time is collapsed by these women into a resonant and meaningful present. They are aware, but they are not deterred by the anguish that will surely result from their actions. Moreover, these women locate that ephemeral present, that entirely subjective experience of an existential truth in their bodies, the most impermanent of all things that constitute the self. But next to these grand narratives of male self-aggrandizement that form a part of Girish's stunning oeuvre, we must listen to a small voice, one that might easily be missed in the context of a spectacular and beloved performance. Think of the song in Hayavadana that Girish translates into English as "The River Has No Memories." And you will see how even a dominant idea like the quest for immortality is gently but persuasively subverted by a great playwright and a relentlessly critical human being. The river may not have memories, but we do. Girish is many things to many people: friend, mentor, ally, collaborator, public intellectual, drinking companion. And although we have come together in our shared appreciation of him, we will all remember him separately, distinctly, each of us as he is only to us. So I was at Shankara about a month ago, And when his disembodied voice commanded the pre-show chatter into silence, I thought, oh God, this is the only place I'm ever going to hear this voice again. But I was wrong. Since Girish died, I hear his voice in my head all the time. He's not telling me to switch off my cell phone. He's saying again what he said to me once, both affectionately and with his characteristic directness. He said, stop drinking. You'll have more time to write. One more drink for you, Girish. Cheers.
You've heard three wonderful tributes, live as it were. Now there are three to follow that are recorded. From the artist S.G. Vasudev, who's a close personal friend of Girish, probably longest in this room, well before you, Saras, I think. Christina is nodding. Okay, just after you, Christina. Christina is Girish's Oxford friend. But also, Girish had a very finely developed aesthetic sensibility and worked closely with artists. So we'll have S.G. Vasudev. Then we'll have Shyam Benegal, who might have been one of the few people Girish deferred to, if you know what I mean, right? Saras is exact. In fact, the first time I met Girish and Saras was, we just knew of them, we used to just gaze at them. Maybe me almost as adoringly as Sujata, but it was kind of 9 to 10 perhaps. And we got a call from a mutual friend in London saying, the great Girish Karnad may call you one day. We were wondering, क्या है, क्या हो गया, क्या बात है, हमने क्या किया, गलत क्या किया. And then a call came because Shyam Benegal was in town. And Girish had heard from our friends in London that here was a designer and a writer who had just moved to Bangalore.
I met Girish Karnad for the first time in 1963, and he was introduced to me by Y.N. Krishnamurthy, who was editor of Prajavani and Kannada Prabha. He himself was a very, very good writer and also a literary critic, and he introduced me to Girish Karnad in Chennai. And I was a student in the College of Arts at that time, studying painting and sculpture. And soon we became good friends, because one thing was that we both could speak a language which is common, Kannada, and his interest in art made him come to College of Art regularly to meet the artists and others, to discuss with them. And I, for one, took advantage of his friendship and got the best of literature, books on literature, Kafka, Camus, Sartre and all these people, and also literature in Kannada, poetry, theatre, all contemporary things. He exposed me to best of literature. That really changed my vision about my painting, because I thought that's somebody talking about literature like that to me was very important. Then it so happened a year or 2 years later, A.K. Ramanujan had come to Chennai, and he introduced me to A.K. Ramanujan. And A.K. Ramanujan again, we could speak Kannada, and we were really became good friends. And Ramanujan asked me whether I could make a cover design for his first Kannada publication, Hokkolalli Huvilla. And I did that. Then Girish and I became very close friends. And then he introduced me to the theatre group in Chennai called the Madras Players. And Madras Players, an amateur theatre group, had wonderful people like Lakshmi Krishnamurthy, then Pattabi Reddy, Snehalata Reddy, all these people, So it was very interesting to meet them all and talk about theatre and go for their plays. And I also did some sort of poster designs and brochure designs for them, for their plays. And in 1967, I got the National Award from the Lalit Kala Academy, Delhi. And that year, Girish organized an exhibition of my works in Dharwar, of all the places. I never thought I could exhibit in Dharwar. Then he took me with him to Dharwar, and there was an exhibition, a big exhibition I had. At the same time, almost at the same time, Girish had received a manuscript of Samskara, your Ananthamurthy's story, Samskara. He read it and shared it with me, and he said, Vasudev, why don't you read this book? So I read it and I felt, my God, this is a fantastic thing. I told Girish, we should make a film. He said, yes, that's exactly what I also thought when I read the book. So for me, Samskara was like, I could visualize everything. I could visualize the Agrahara, the village, the way Ananthamurthy explains about the kitchen and everything, and it's beautiful. And so it was, both of us had no experience of filmmaking at all, both Girish and I. So what we did was, we used to go to some good films, sit and watch the films, to know exactly how to place the camera, how to write the script and things like that. When it was later, one of the Madras players person, Pattabhirama Reddy, he came forward to do the film, Samskara, and he also wanted to direct the film and produce the film. And so I was asked to go and see the location, and I was made the art director for the film. So I chose a location for the film and also got involved in selecting some of the artists for the actors and others for the film with Girish. So that was an opening for me in the field of cinema. And meanwhile, in Cholamandal itself, we used to have a lot of discussions on, what is identity, what is Indian identity in art. And something which Girish also felt, he was also saying that, yes, we have the same problem with writers. What is our identity? Should we follow what the West had done all these years, or should we find an Indian identity? And that was a very important thing for us also. And so he was involved with all those sort of discussions, and and that sort of a parallel thinking, which A.K. Ramanujan also had a similar one, and Girish also had the similar problems, and he was facing the same thing. And so we artists also face the same thing. And it's now 56 years that we have been friends. And 56 years is a long, long time. And when my first wife, Arnavas, an artist, when she died, Girish knew her also. So I requested him to make a film on Arnavas. And he made a short 20 minutes documentary, beautifully done documentary. And so he's, one thing is that, for me, he was not just a friend, he was a sort of a collaborator in many ways. And even the present wife of mine, who is a journalist, Amu Joseph, is a good friend of Girish and Girish's family, Saraswati Ganapati. And then we used to meet also at their place, and then we became good friends, and we got married. And so, ours is an extended friendship to the family, or family becoming friends, whatever it is. And that's how our relationship developed. One has really lost a great friend in him, and a person whom I could talk on any subject for that matter. And I really feel extremely sad today that we have lost a friend, and I have lost a great friend in him.
How do I characterize Girish? He was absolutely the most wonderful friend one could have. I knew him for a very long time. He made an extremely loyal friend. He was an extremely intelligent person, multilingual. He could speak, write, express himself brilliantly in 4 different languages, apart from his own, which was Konkani, like mine. And then, of course, on top of all of that,
he was a great playwright, and probably among the best playwrights of the last half a century in India. So here was this absolutely intelligent and a wonderful human being and a great sense of social justice, you know. He did everything, you know, if he felt that the unjust things happening around us, and he would take up cudgels in order to fight that kind of injustice. So he had a great sense of social justice. And of course, he was this extraordinarily intelligent human being. I'd heard about him from a cousin of mine, even well before I met him, Krishna Basrur, because they'd been to college together in Dharwad. And Girish was at that time a Rhodes Scholar, was the president of the Oxford Union, all of those things. And then here he is, when he comes, and then I get this opportunity to not just meet him, become a friend of his, but also to get him to write for me, which was a huge bonus because he wrote for Nishant and for Manthan and played the main parts. And what is more, won the National Award for the best screenplay. All of those things. Because, you know, he was, I mean, I don't seem to get the right kind of words, because he was somebody that I was in awe of, and certainly admired him greatly. And he made such a dear and loyal friend. You know, he's left a void that's very difficult to fill. He was, well, simply put, I will miss him greatly.
Good evening. It is an honor to be among those asked to talk about Girish as I knew him, but my sincerest apologies for not being present this evening. I had read Girish Karnad's play Tughlaq in the Urdu translation when I was a student at the NSD in 1970. I had no idea it was originally written in Kannada. I thought it must have been written in Urdu by some poetic-looking gent wearing a Lucknowi kurta, grey beard, long hair, topi, maybe horn-rimmed spectacles, spouting poetry somewhere. That's how I visualized the writer of that play. So it was a bit of a surprise when I actually set eyes on him for the first time. And that was in the Rivoli Theatre in Delhi, and he was not in the audience, he was on the screen. He was doing a commercial for some Raymond's suitings or some such product, and he confessed to me later that that was one of his youthful indiscretions. He didn't confide much about the others. As he appeared, my girlfriend, who I was sitting next to, let go of my hand and started gasping and said, "Oh, Girish Karnad, a gorgeous looking man." And I looked up and I saw this person looking rather uncomfortable in a suit, dark suit, tie. Never seen Girish dressed like that after that, ever again. His terrible worm-like moustache stuck on his upper lip and trying very hard to do the cool act, which I myself have failed at several times in the subsequent years. And I said to myself, hey, this is the guy who wrote Tughlaq. Something wrong here. Later, of course, I discovered a little about Girish, and then I heard him speak one day at a seminar at the drama school. The black suit and the tie which seemed to be choking him was gone, replaced by a magnificent maroon kurta, luxuriant beard, curly hair, and this voice, which boomed across the room, and yet was very gentle at the same time. The clarity of his thoughts, his articulate nature the originality of his ideas and the precision with which he put them across. It had us all mesmerized, though there were several other celebrities in that room on that day. And it was only after that, several years later, I realized that with those eyes and with that voice, if Girish had ever wanted to be a god man, he would have given Rajneesh a run for his money. Maybe he should have tried it while he was at the Film Institute, instead of fighting with the acting students. Then he came to take over as director of the FTII and charmed us all by saying that he wanted to come here as a student, but fate had other plans. The 2 years at the Institute, I had very little to do with him because he never bothered his head with the acting department, which was a pity, but that's another story. And then there was the end of my 2-year study, which ended in a great deal of unpleasantness. There was a strike by the actors over something we believed was a matter of belief, a matter of ideology, and he thought was the biggest nonsense he'd ever heard. Matter was never resolved, but a lot of unpleasantness occurred, and I said terrible things to him and about him that time, which luckily he did not hold against me. When someone of Girish's stature expires, there's a great deal of curiosity in certain sections of the press to uncover what the people who knew the deceased feel about it. And if you don't provide them with a platitude or two, they'll help you out and invent one themselves and put it in your mouth. So I have, knowing how Girish loathed sentimental cliches, I have desisted from saying anything about him to the press. But also because I find it hard to define what I feel. I think any of us finds it hard to define what we feel at any given time. And to try and analyze what I felt about Girish when he was alive, what I feel about him now that he's left us, I don't think I can do that, or it would take too long. Tom Stoppard, in one of his plays, has described death brilliantly. He says that an actor cannot act death. You cannot act death. Death is not gasping and moaning and falling about. Death is an absence. The man fails to turn up. I think everyone whose lives were touched by Girish will feel his absence for a very long time to come. As for me, I cannot say, even though he has left a Girish-sized hole in our lives, I cannot say that I will miss him because I didn't see him all that often. I can't say we were friends. He was too much of a giant for me to ever dare to try and befriend. I can't say I loved him deeply. I was content to just gape in awe and admiration and envy, particularly at the way he could turn on the girls. And his giant intellect made me always feel like a challenged 10-year-old child. I can't say that I've learnt much from him because, as I said, he had nothing to do with the actors, and I only acted in one of his films. But what I did glean is 3 qualities which I think are more important. Sorry. And these are the qualities of kindness, generosity, and courage. The way I saw him caring for his parents when he was director of the FTII, the way he would look after them, the way he cared for penniless students like Om and myself, we were no one to him. But his constant encouragement, his constantly trying to boost our morale, often even helping out monetarily, and then helping us both start our careers, is not a debt that life gave either Om or me a chance to repay. And as for courage, the last few years of his life, apart from the fact that he did with the rest of his life whatever he could, right up to the point when he could no longer. That is the biggest lesson of all. To do with your life whatever you can. What Girish did was more than what 10 people achieved with their lives. But the way he continued fighting for his convictions, the way he continued fearlessly expressing his beliefs, the way he continued battling with the debilitating illness that finally took him away, is one of the more inspiring things I've ever heard. I finally understood what it means to not go gentle into the night, but to rage against the dying of the light. If it is indeed true that every believer who goes to heaven is rewarded with 49 virgins, then I assume there would have been a logjam of virgins the day Girish arrived there. Or maybe every virgin would demand 49 Girish Karnads, which would have been a tall order even for the Almighty to fulfill. 49 Girish Karnads. No, we had one. We had him. We had the only one, the real one.
Good evening. Shyam Benegal, who knew Girish very closely, talked about the void Girish has left. Naseer, who did not know Girish that closely, said that he led the lives of 10 people. Unlike the others who have spoken today, I had no professional connection with Girish Karnad. My wife did, and did some beautiful posters for some of his plays, which is probably one of the reasons, indeed maybe the most important reason why Girish was kind to me. And we weren't particularly good friends. I mean, like, I probably knew him even less than Naseer did. But as someone who's lived a moderately long life, who spent 60 years in this country in different parts of India, interacting with people in different professions, who I suppose as a historian has some modest judgment of good and bad, greatness and mediocrity, I'd say that there can only be one Girish Karnad. When I first saw him at the IIC dining alone in that room, he was president of the Sangeet Natak Academy. He could easily have been president of the Sahitya Academy, but he couldn't be bothered to run for the election. And surely he would have been a much better president of the Lalit Kala Academy than 80% of the presidents that body has had. So I think it's the extraordinary range of his work and the ability to bridge North and South, folk and classical, demotic and Sanskritic, that made him so unique. Also his ability to grow all the time. Arshia talked about his year in Chicago. I mean, he was 50 and he was still growing and learning. The play that Aru read from, in which he acted in Bikre Bim, could not have been written had he not been in London in his 60s. It was the theatre world that Vivek talked about is going for a play every day. It was the new technologies that were available then, which are very different from anything he'd studied at Oxford in the 60s or read about in Kannada literature. So his ability to grow all the time. I mean, just his range, his curiosity, his extraordinary grasp of things. He also was human. He made friends. He had the great capacity to admire too. I mean, younger people who've spoken today, Kirtinath, Kotkoti, Bendre, but he also made enemies and rivalries. I mean, he was human in that sense. I mean, the first argument we had, the first time I met him, and I should tell you about that argument because it's actually very human. We entered, and Girish saw Sudhata and me. He'd never seen us. He knew about us. He didn't know Sudhata's that well as he knew me because I was in print. And the first thing he said was, I read your articles and you could be quite combative. I said, so can you. And Sudhata, my mad husband, the first day he's picking a fight with the great Girish Karnad who's called us for dinner with Shyam Benegal. So he sat us down and said, what did you mean? What do you mean? I said, you wrote that review of T.G. Vaidyanathan's book and you were savage in print. He said, yes, I was. But let me tell you why I was savage in print. 25 years ago, I made a film. I'm not sure, maybe in Vamshavruksha, I forget. It was in the North Kannada dialect. And this man does not know a word of Kannada and wrote a critical review of that film. I waited 20 years to get even with him in print. So I said, okay, but you are the great Girish Karnad. This is a college lecturer, T.G. Vaidyanathan. The book you reviewed is the first book he's had in print. It's a collection of his film reviews. Couldn't you have been a little gentler about an old man, his first book? He said, yes. He was stupid and nasty about my film, but maybe. And by the way, You have a point, because D.R. Nagaraj was here last week. D.R. Nagaraj was the great Kannada literary critic and scholar whom Girish greatly admired. D.R. Nagaraj was here last week, and he also told me I had been unfair to T.G. Vaidyanathan. So maybe you have a point. Now, this story has a poignant and rather sad ending, because D.R. Nagaraj had lunch with Saras and Girish one day. The next Sunday, it was Sujata and I with Shyam Benegal. And the next Sunday, D.R. Nagaraj died. In his 40s. I mean, it's a tragic loss. I mean, Vivek is here, will know. Arshia is here, will also know. I mean, it's something, he didn't lead a full life. And he was someone who was who would have been a true colossus of Kannada and world literature. And Girish greatly admired him. So D.R. Nagaraj died, and we were all devastated. And then there was a memorial meeting, and Girish called me. By this time, it had been 3 or 4 weeks, and he probably was calling me Ram. I don't think he said Mr. Guha. He said, look, do you know D.R. Nagaraj? I said, yes. He said, there's a memorial meeting for him in Central College. It's arranged at short notice, and I'm telling you. I said, oh, then I'll definitely come. He said, wait a minute. But tell T.G. Vaidyanathan. I couldn't abide the man, but D.R. Nagaraj greatly admired him, so he must be there at that memorial meeting. So the memorial meeting was held in Central College, and I was on row 3. Girish and T.G. Vaidyanathan were on the front row. I don't think they exchanged words, but they'd come to pay their tribute to D.R. Nagaraj. In a similar way, perhaps there are people in this room who detest each other. Two enemies may be sitting next to each other. There's some people in this room who I don't like me. There's no one in this room who doesn't like Aru. But there must be some enemies of mine in this room who have come, despite my presence here, to pay tribute to the great Girish Karnad. I'd like to thank the Bangalore International Centre, especially the extraordinarily modest and self-effacing Ramachandra, who did everything today. And not just today, the day Girish died, he was in the Karnad's house, and Saras and Raghu know what he did that day, and his team, Raghu and others, who put this wonderful, wonderful show together. I'll just leave you with one last thought. When Aru talked about his directing Bikre Bin, and when she was talking about it, very movingly about his coming, and then she said, Karnad came with a notebook and a bottle of water. I got a little nervous. I said, what kind of impression is going to leave these young people in this room? That Karnad is accompanied by a bottle of water. I was slightly reassured when Arshia brought in the whiskey. And I'd like to leave you all this evening, when you go back, to raise a toast. The second toast will be to the memory and legacy of Girish Karnad. The first one to be the memory and legacy of Dr. Madhu Marti Gule, without whom we would have not had Girish Karnad. Thank you.